I'm really excited to be able to introduce Pete Sutton. He's the State Bicycle and Pedestrian Coordinator from MassDOT, and he's been working with MassTrails.
Pandora, come here, honey.
Interagency.
Pandora, come here.
It's an interagency effort to be able to bring together MassDOT, Mass Department of Conservation and Recreation, and Mass DEP to really just do some incredible work on trail infrastructure, whether it's land trail, water trail, etc. So Pete, I'm going to kick it off to you.
Okay, do I have screen sharing capabilities?
Let's make that happen, Pete. Give me a second, I'll give it to you.
Sure. Yeah, the one agency within under DEP is the Energy of Environmental Affairs. That's the other three. Well, those are the three lead agencies that the governor appointed just because we're all in charge of building out the trail system in Massachusetts. And can you see my screen?
Yep, thanks, Pete.
Great. Galen asked me to give a brief overview on an initiative that the Trails team just rolled out about a month ago. For those of you not familiar with the Mass Central Rail Trail, it has the potential to be a 104-mile trail linking Boston to Northampton. It was an old railroad corridor running east-west between the two cities. Has not been used for the better part of a century. But there are certain parts of it all around the state that are being used as trails. Probably the most famous is the Norwottuck Rail Trail between Northampton and Amherst. In order to build out the entire trail, we needed to do a feasibility study under the guise of the MassTrails team. And what that initiated was we decided to focus on the corridor right in the middle of the state, the 68.5 miles between Hudson and Belchertown. The study, the reason that we do a feasibility study in the first place is to determine what is on the ground, what kind of condition things are in order to prioritize future projects. So roughly that's why we do the study. This one turned out to be a gigantic undertaking. As you can imagine, we mapped the entire 68.5 miles with half-a-mile increments. That level probably hasn't been done with that kind of granularity as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I know. Ownership conditions, the existing use of the original corridor varies greatly. Some sections are like I said, shared use paths. Other sections are in public ownership with the intact rail bed. There are other sections that are still active rail. And then there are other sections in private ownership with the original rail bed obliterated or converted to different uses that we have to find alternate routes for that. I'm gonna go through these fairly quickly. Our intent is to go along as much of the original rail bed as possible. Again, there are some stretches where overpasses were built along the corridor. That's some active rail where it's just not feasible to put a trail alongside it just because there isn't enough room. In those cases, we have to go around. The study was broken up into 3 different sections between Belchertown and Bondsville, and then Bondsville to Barry, and then from Rutland all the way to Hudson. Again, a fairly long corridor throughout the middle part of the state, which is really beautiful and definitely worth checking out for people that haven't been walking and cycling out there. There are several sections that are still open. It was primarily a GIS study just to find out, to map all, basically every mile of it. And we did that on the ground. Our consultants basically had GPS units and they tried to walk almost the entire stretch of it over last summer. Did a great job. Took a lot of photos. A lot of you know the haunted tunnel in Clinton that we're hoping to convert as part of the trail. The end of it in Berlin where it crosses under 495. Some sections of active rail. The Ware Hardwick Covered Bridge, which is famous in that region. The end result was a 3-part feasibility study. We broke it down into 3 segments with the implementation level that we mapped as either being low, which is in pink, medium in lavender, and high difficulty in purple. The green sections of the trail exist. The yellow sections are where the right-of-way is intact, and the dotted red sections are where the right-of-way is obliterated. And I use this example here right at the beginning in Belchertown as a good example. We had a public comment period for the entire month of November, and we got great comments back, probably upwards to around 100. I'm happy to report that almost every one of them were overwhelmingly in favor of the trail, and a lot of people who were residents of all the 15 communities along the trail actually came up with some additional information that we weren't privy to, which was very helpful to us. Some people saying that you know, that this section isn't quite obliterated. You might be able to get a trail through there. So all useful information that we're working through right now. Here's the corridor mapped at, like I said, half-mile increments. The level of detail, pretty impressive as far as finding out what's on the ground. Here's the segment 2, segment 3, going all the way, like I said, towards I-495. I want to spend some time with these last couple of slides. Some key takeaways here. There's strong municipal stakeholder support and an advocacy base throughout the 15 communities. A lot of you are on this call tonight, which I'm very excited about. DCR is a primary landowner along several corridor parcels, which helps. It's been identified by the MassTrails team as a priority vision corridor, and if fully built out, the entire corridor between Northampton and Boston is positioned to be a major statewide draw for bike tourism, recreation, and transportation. Over 6 miles of the continuous trail in Belchertown is identified as low implementation, and it's owned by the town. So we're looking to start there in 2021 as far as extending the network. Approximately $17.5 million is currently committed to fund various projects. A lot of them which were direct beneficiaries of MassTrails grants in 2019 and 2020. One of the most exciting pieces of news I got recently was the town of Clinton. We awarded them funding for right-of-way acquisition, and they are about to close on their stretch of 1 mile, including the tunnel through there, and they're hoping to get at least some of the trail opened as early as next spring. Some other big ticket items are happening at the end of the trail in Williamsburg. Also, as you make your way further east, Hudson, Stowe, Sudbury, a couple MassDOT tip projects on there, including Sudbury and Wayland and Belmont. Probably the highest profile project right now is right up the street for where I live in Somerville, and that's part of the Green Line extension, the community path extension, which is under construction now and hopefully will be open a year from now. So a lot of info to throw at you. Galen, hopefully you can put the link in the chat box about the Mass Central Rail Trail Feasibility Study. And also, before I forget, the third round of MassTrails Grants is open right now, and the deadline is February 1st. So anyone on this call that's looking to advance trail projects in their town or their region, MassTrails Grants are available for upwards to $300,000 for feasibility, design, construction, and maintenance. So we hope to hear from a lot of you in the next couple months.
Awesome. Pete, thank you so much. This is going to be a game changer when this comes out. This is going to be revolutionary.